Okay, welcome everyone. Here we are, October 11th. Beautiful fall weather here in Texas after our storm last night. But thanks for joining us. Hopefully you had an awesome weekend. I know it was fun for a lot of people, depending on what team you're rooting for, but we had a nice little win on Saturday. Never thought I'd be rooting for OU versus Texas. But my money goes to OU now, so that's right. Anyway, so we've got 3 weeks left, which I was just thinking about that. I'm like, wow, because I feel like we've been in October for a while. I don't know why, but it feels like we've been in October.
A long month.
My sales aren't where they need to be. And I'm like, okay, we really have a lot of month left. So here we are. And a lot of good things going on. That's going to really boost our sales, which we're going to talk about the lapsed client a little bit before we get in with talking with Libby. Just a few quick reminders. The holiday cutoffs are posted, so just make sure you know about that. And everyone's ready. They know they need to buy early this year. So it's not like you're going to come to them and they're going to be surprised or think this is weird. I have to go ahead and order. Just do it. Be proactive. Be talking to your clients. Be talking to their significant others, whoever's buying gifts. Each Wednesday on the Power Hours, they are talking about product. There were a lot of cool new features, new products announced last Monday on the call. And so get on those calls, and they're recorded. If you can't get on Wednesday live, then go back and listen to them. And I think this week they're talking about that puffer jacket, which looks amazing. So tune in for that. To boot inventory, some of that's coming back, thankfully. Base Camp, the registration's open for all stylists. So if you're a leader on the call, you really need to be looking at, you can see who's registered for Base Camp and talking to those other people that have not, because everyone's invited. And we need to finalize hotel numbers. So have people register. If they need a hotel, they need to indicate that. People can share rooms. You could get 2 people. It ends up being $70 a night, or 4 people, and it would be $30-something a night. So really good room rate that they got, but we need to finalize numbers as far as that goes. So just remind them of that. And what else? I think those were really just things we wanted to keep top of mind. Oh, Fast Pass is back for suiting. Yay. So it's there. If you place an order and you need to do the rush or the extreme rush, that option is there. Like before, they allow 5 of those a day. So if I go on and order 5 suits for 5 different clients and I fast rush them all, then that's all they're going to take for the day. So, which I've never had an issue with it. I've always been able to get it if I wanted it. So that's there and available for the fee. So we're thankful for that. Again, still no guarantees, but they will do everything in their power to get it by that date.
And Laura, the trick is if it is not available that afternoon when you're placing your order, wait until first thing the next morning, and then you'll get the Fast Pass.
Yeah, good point, Cameron. Yeah, take it the next pass. Okay, the best sellers were posted in the weekly update. Y'all can take your time to look at that. It's still shocking. The best sellers continue to be for shirts, 5 white shirts. Hello. I mean, guys are still restocking on their basics. If you're not talking to guys about that, you need to be, because everyone wants something fresh, that maybe they need a new blue sport coat. It's all, so many of the revenge fabrics are the top sellers. So be out there, be confident, open your mouths. The jeans are the top sellers as far as casual pants. And so good job on all of that. So with that, I'm going to kick it over to Jill. She's going to talk about the lapsed client promo, which we do this every year around this time. So it's pretty similar, but Jill, talk us through that.
Sure. And one thing, I learned about the denim program this week that you may or may not know. Even if your guy has a confirmed 5-pocket fit, they only want him to order 1 pair of jeans to start with. So the system will stop you from ordering multiple denims, even if the fit is confirmed. I think that if you're adamant, you could probably email John and get around that. But it's like everything. It's a new program for us. I think they've got all the glitches worked out, but sometimes they don't. And so only ordering 1 pair probably helps to make the program that much better from the start. So
Good to know. Thank you.
just a word to the wise on that. Don't sell 5 pair unless he's already bought one. Okay, so most of you probably know this, but for some, but those that don't, Dave is going to come out with a communication this morning announcing our lapsed client promotion. And what that is your inactive clients will be offered a $100 discount when they place a $500 order. And I wanted to just kind of refresh your memory, just the basics of even the green room that, hold on, that will help you decide who you're going to reach out to. The company is going to send emails to these lapsed clients, but they're inactive for a reason. And so I contend that it's, again, going to take a big effort on our part to re-engage these clients. They may or may not think $100 is a cool thing and hop right on it. It may take us reaching out more than once, and maybe even more in a personalized way. So I wanted to remind you that in the My Client, look at who my best client is. In the My Client, remember, they've already sorted our list for them. It's a static list, but it's already sorted. And so you can look at your inactive clients with a lifetime spend. And this is ranked high to low. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is that if you have 2 devices, this might be the time to set this list up on one device and reach out on another. But the ones that I'm going to look for first that you cannot see in the virtual assistant is this right here, the unsubscribe button. That guy is not going to know about this promotion unless you reach out to them. So I would definitely look for those first, and then make those your first priority of reaching out, and then move on to the guys that are going to get the email from corporate. So that's just, and you can decide if you want to do it how personal you want to get, or if you want to copy and paste an email that you're able to just send along with a look, or maybe you want to send the link to the lookbook. I don't know. But I tell you, last week, I think it was last week, or maybe it was a couple of weeks ago, Katie Cantrell told us that one of her reach out tips to guys is to take the expected delivery date. And I think that's really brilliant with outerwear. And maybe that's a way you engage a guy with this promotion. It's like, well, let's get you, if we look at an outerwear piece now, it'll be delivered, I don't know when it is off the top of my head. Let's say November 10th. I think it's earlier than that. But anyway, and then you can take $100 off of it. So, maybe get specific like that with the lapsed client. Your clients, but I do contend that we need to, especially somebody like these guys in my top buyers that are well over $10,000. Those are the guys that I should really focus on. And even if they ignore me the first time, I'm probably going to go back at them the second time and the third time. So the other inactive client list is the ones that are the most recent inactives. So like this guy is barely inactive. He just purchased on the 1st of October 2020. So you decide how you want to do it, and go from there. I know this week on Power Hours, they're going to be talking a lot about list building using the virtual assistant. in relationship to this promotion. So there you go. I don't know how long Dave's going to send out the the email today. I don't know how long the promotion will last, but for sure through the end of the month. And it seems like maybe they in the past have run it through the first month and then on into the second month. So
I feel like it ran through the 15th of November last year.
Seems like
I might be making that up, but that sounds right.
Yeah.
I think it's through the 14th, Jill.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Good. So, okay. That's what's coming today. Be looking for Dave's email, and it goes live tomorrow. So you can start reaching out this afternoon if you want to. So there you go. So Cameron and Libby, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, girls. Yes, we are so thrilled to have Miss Libby Tanucci on the call today. And for those of you who pay attention, she is one of our super sellers, to say the least. She's already at 24,000 this month, and today is what, the 11th? Last month she sold 55,000. The month before 77,000. And in July, 41,000. So she is just shy of hitting $1 million for her career to date. So she knows something about selling. And we wanted to have her on this call today to just kind of share with everyone, I guess when Lori and I did one of our calls in the studio, a lot of people chimed in. They're like, what's Libby selling? We're like, I don't know. We'll ask what Libby is selling. And then I know when I posted that she'd be on the call, I had several people respond and say, ask her how she preps for an appointment. How is a new appointment different than an existing appointment? What are her go-to fabrics that she sells? So Libby, I know you hate to talk about yourself a lot. So I appreciate you coming on and you say, I'm just consistent, but obviously you're doing something right. So please unmute and share with everyone a little bit about how you're selling this.
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So you're right. It's all about being consistent. And I always find a way, like Katie was talking about, with the lapsed client promo, of a reason and a why to reach out to a client. And I try to often make it not about buying something or me selling them something like that. I just want to start a conversation somehow. And even if that doesn't lead to, oh, hey, I need to grab some stuff, I just still feel like I'm kind of developing a relationship and a friendship and an ease within kind of our conversation. So that would be my first thing. If that's easy to do, you can do that, on the weekends or whenever, of just texting a client or emailing them and just asking them like a random question of like, hey, I thought about you, or I think I met somebody who knows you, or whatever. So anyway, that's one idea. But then bouncing into an actual appointment, I think what helps me a lot, and I've never been in sales before. This is my first like sales role. So maybe it helps that I haven't been like trained by a corporation of how to do something. But I kind of get to the point where I tell the guys like that this is kind of like what they have to do and that this is what they need and how great this would look on them. I don't ask them for their permission to, would you like to look at a sport coat? I kind of tell them, I'm like, you definitely need to get a sport coat in your closet, super casual, can go 1,000 different things. It'll be from one side to the other in terms of dress all the way down to blue jeans. And I kind of just almost hate to say it, but like steamroll them a little bit with the concept versus, would you like to look at a sport coat? Because if I asked a guy if he wanted to look at a sport coat, I think a lot would maybe say no, that they're going to tell me that they're not wearing sport coats right now. And if we do get into that conversation, I definitely tell them that I think they're, have to think about it differently, that the guys are still wearing sport coats, and that it's a very casual way to look like the best dressed guy in the room. So I think that sport coats are a heavy hitter for me. It's a nice dollar volume to get into an order. And if I can get like a pattern sport coat and then a solid dress trouser in that order, then I tee it up that, coming in the future, we'll then get the jacket that matches your solid color trouser, because then you'll have a suit as well as then the sport coat to wear with the suit. And then you've got a ton of different options for dressing. So I think some of it might just have to do with the language that I use when I talk to clients. I really don't ask their permission on, what do you want to look at or what do you want to do? I kind of lead them, and I try to get as much confidence in my, heart as I possibly can, and just kind of plow through these appointments and, keep on pulling stuff. And a lot of times they'll even end up at the end of the appointment where they'll say, well, listen, I don't want to do all of this today, but I want to save like this for the second go around. So I plant like a ginormous seed with them. The way that I prep for an appointment, and I'm going to see if, can I flip you around somehow?
You should be able to.
Hold on, let me see. I don't know how to flip it. Oh,
Are you
hold
on
on.
your
It's going
iPhone?
camera. Now I'm on an iPad.
Okay, there you go.
All right. So like here is, so I pulled a fabric. This is one of the shirt jacket fabrics. And then I paired it with like 2 different casual pants. I pulled a white shirt card because white is our best selling, shirt right now. And I put like 4 different button colors on it to go back to that, because if he has a confirmed fit, I'm going to talk to him how important it is to have at least 5 perfect white dress shirts in his closet and 5 light blue dress shirts in your closet. We make them all unique and all different, but do not be afraid to every single day wear a white or a light blue dress shirt. You don't need to get beyond super creative. It's, a perfect thing to always just have and go to. And then I'm going to pull the wool knit card because this is a really nice price point for an order. And I think it wears so incredibly well that I want to get my guys into those wools. And I kind of show them that, this can all go together. And then
Libby, sorry, are those the polos that you're referring to? The knits?
Yeah.
Okay. The rated?
And right now, yeah. I have a sample of the black one that has has the full button placket going all the way down it, long sleeved with the dress shirt cuff. And I show that to guys and they're kind of shocked and stunned at it. Like they would never have thought that that would be a thing for them. And I'm like, give it a whirl. You're going to love it. And they're like, okay. Every once in a while, I get a lot of pushback on that, but 95% of guys would love to do that. They just didn't know that they could even do that. And then I'll bounce into and always try and pull like a belt shorty, and show them like ideas of what does a belt look like with, some of our casual shirting. I have a navy pair of chinos there, and I just kind of start building these outfits and kind of throwing things at them. That's kind of how I prep for an appointment. I might end up also pulling, like a sport coat to add into this mix. And if I can show them how to wear that sport coat, a bunch of different pants to put with it. Obviously, we could do some fun shirts that'll pair back with it, layer it with a polo. I just kind of keep on going and going and going. Guys, obviously, as you all know,
Until they tell you to stop.
Yeah, and even then I might ignore them for a minute. No, you're right. Until they tell me to stop. And you can usually sense that a little bit too. So I try to, pull back as soon as I feel like they're kind of hitting the end of things. I love selling the performance pants, and I give guys permission to please not think that you can't throw a sport coat on with those, especially done as a chino. Mm-hmm. And once they feel that, they understand what I'm talking about, and then they really want to line up and get some of those too.
So is that an existing client or would that be a new client? Or
this could be a new client.
Okay.
This could be a new client. Yep. Absolutely. And then showing him like the breadth of what you can do with just a basic white shirt, with different buttons, different contrast fabric, different thread. Their mind starts going at that point and they're like, oh, that would be super cool. Like they love the fact that it doesn't have to be just a boring white shirt. So.
Mm-hmm. So Jill is asking, what would you put with the green performance?
Like the performance pant.
Jill, yeah? Yes.
Yes, yes. So I would pair it with anything, like I just put it with that shirt jacket. Like those browns and blacks and grays in there are all a neutral. And I think it pairs back really well to green is also a neutral. I always, for neutrals, I look outside to nature, and anything that like God put on our planet is, I consider a neutral. So I look at like browns, blacks, grays, and greens are all neutral. So that would pair incredibly well together. Throw like the black wool Rada polo underneath that, and then grab a belt to show him how cool, like then like a brown belt would look with that all together.
Mm-hmm.
That would be killer. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
And that's just a start. I mean, those green pants would go with a lot of stuff.
So what would you say would have been your top sellers for fall so far? What do you see? Yeah, like is it the short
pattern
jacket?
pattern sport coats for sure. You know, like something similar to that. I sold that blue and brown ombre that sold out a ton. That was like such a great pant eater, easy to go with. And here in Ohio, I give guys, I tell them they can start wearing that in like September and wear it all the way through April and then put it away. And they're good with that. They don't, you know, panic or anything like that. So pattern sport coat, because I just think that, and as long as it's like a subtle one, like if the camo is really cool, but you're going to walk into a room once and people are going to remember you in that. So you can't wear that a lot, but you know, something a little more subtle like that blue and brown ombre was very subtle, and you could change the look of that with, you know, blue jeans versus like a dress trouser. You could have gone brown with it, black with it, gray, blue, so many things to do with that.
And would you say your go-to casual pant is the performance? That's your number one color?
Sometimes I really do love our new wool stretch. I know it's more expensive, but I really do love that. That's a sharp look. The performance is a sharp look. And then I do think that guys need just a good, like, you know, the cotton tools and everything. So I get a little bit nervous about selling the Zania wool denim, guys. There's not a ton of stretch in there. And depending upon the fit on a guy, I worry that they're just going to find it too uncomfortable in the hip.
I wouldn't argue with that.
Yeah. So I have a very open discussion with them when they really want that. So
yeah, it's good looking.
It is.
Yeah.
And I'll group my fabrics together, you know, like I have kind of like a hodgepodge one. I have a board that I keep like all the grays on, and then another one with the blues on it as well.
So that was my next question. So these you keep those put together like that. You're not going to reassort them for a new client?
No, I'll pull off of these boards, you know, like one or two, and then I will lay it all together, you know, as options. And I can sometimes build a family with like a blue and then a gray and then maybe like a cool, you know, more unique color. And I'll build 3 different families of, you know, here's your sport coat. Here's your, you know, 2 casual pants. Here's a dress trouser. Here's a belt. Here's a shirt. Here's a polo. And I'll do that 3 different times for 3 different color categories.
So question about outerwear. What are your go-tos there?
100% just like the quilted vest, because it's inexpensive, and then I will always put the quilted vest underneath a sport coat. And guys here aren't typically used to seeing that as a thing. And once they see that, they really like that look. So I try, and so it's an easy way to get into an outerwear piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would think in Dallas in the dead of winter that is a nice thing, because guys just don't need a big outerwear like cashmere coat to go from like the cart into the office.
No.
But that is keeps me warm, you know, and then I can take off the jacket or I can take off the vest once I'm inside my destination.
I love it.
Yes.
All right, questions for Libby. We've got her. Ask questions.
Libby, your selling style seems great. I'm wondering what your average sale is.
That's a good question. I should look, huh? Can you tell I'm the creative type? And I'm like, I have no idea about a number. I have no idea. I can look while we're talking.
I can look it up. You guys can ask questions. I'll look it up.
Maybe 7 something. I feel like I get a lot of big purchases, like 1,500 or so for an order. But then I do definitely get like a client who just wants to try a shirt. And I'm anxious to get them into the collection and to expose to the brand. So I'm like, just try a shirt. So then I do have enough orders that are just a single shirt maybe.
Then they come back and buy more.
And then once you get them hooked with the shirt, they, are stuck with you forever.
Hang on.
But I do think a lot of it has to do with, just being confident and just casual in your approach with them, organized, but just casual of like, you'd look like $1 million. You're crazy not to try that. Come on. And
so what I like, you definitely take control of the appointment.
I do. And I think that guys like that, because honestly, they're a mess most of the time. They really want to look good. They don't know how to look good. Their wife is trying, but like she's, either can't figure it out or she doesn't want to, or she doesn't have the confidence either. So I get really confident and I'm like, I will take care of everything for you. Just trust me. You're going to look like $1 million.
So you frame yourself up to be the expert, which is what we should all be.
Yep.
And
they'll ask me questions on things that I don't know the answer to. And I will usually say, you know what, that's a great question. I don't know, but let me find out for you. Or if it's something that's really minor, I'll just kind of make something up. But,
All right, Boots, Libby's AOV is 912. So.
Hey, I love what Libby's saying. And I think, and we talk so much about confidence and all of that. And I know there's some newer stylists on this call and they're maybe sitting there going, oh my God, I could never do that. Or I don't know all the fabrics yet. Just use the looks if you have to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pull the fabrics from the looks and lay those out as a look and just start to have an opinion and pick your favorites. That's the key. And I love that you don't stop. Someone told me this early on because I was never in sales. You keep going until the client absolutely shuts you down. And I do the same thing. I keep going through every category. So I love that.
And even when you hear them start saying, listen, okay, I'm kind of coming to the end, I'll acknowledge that and say, I totally get that. Let's wrap up these options for today. But I want to show you like how much more we could do like in the future for your next purchase when we do our fitting and delivery.
So planting that seed.
You're planting that seed that we're not stopping here, that I'm going to, own your closet and I'm going to manage it for you. And you don't have anything else to worry about. And so if anybody is a new stylist on the call, like try to fake it until you make it, take a couple of things that you can get to know super, super well. Like some of the revenge fabrics are great to sell for suiting. Learn 1 or 2 of the more pattern sport coat things that you'd feel comfortable putting on top of that, and a couple of shirts and like a polo, and stop there and just feel really comfortable with talking about those and just sell them over and over and over and over and over.
Yep. I mean, it was different when we started, but I remember selling the same darn shirts to every single client as long as I didn't have work in the same office. But I could really talk a lot about those shirts.
Yeah.
So it's true.
Libby, this is Sally.
Hello.
I love everything you're saying. One of the things, you know how you're showing them things, even though they're like glazing over.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes they see something, but they don't even know what it's called or anything. And so what I have found to help me is that as soon as they leave, I stick it all in their virtual closet, just so I know what I showed them.
That's a great idea.
So then when I meet with them to have a fit check, then I'm like, okay, do you remember me showing you this vest and this and that? Because if I don't put that in the virtual closet, I don't remember what I showed them or what I said.
So, such a good idea. Yeah, totally a great idea.
That's a good tee up. I'm just going through questions here. Katie says, do you prep on .com at all, saving favorites, using key looks, or just fabrics?
Not typically, but that's not a bad idea to have as kind of like a, another layer of, and pulling it up on .com, here's images of it. It's a great idea.
Do you write it, Libby? How do you remember?
I usually am holding on to fabrics, like I'll fold whatever we're going to keep. I'll keep buttons with me of whatever they're selecting. And then I do keep a notepad and I'm kind of scratching, my notes there too.
Yeah, I got caught last month. Not having, I don't use the notepad. I was just using .com. And the problem with that is I couldn't remember who I saw to go back to look at .com.
Yeah.
So I think the pad is key.
Yes, it doesn't hurt to just have, and when you look at my notes afterwards, I'm looking at them and I'm like, oh my God, like, what did I mean by that? But it's enough. I can jog my memory and get it worked out. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be something that you can peek back on and be like, oh yeah, it was a cutaway color he wanted. Okay, good. I'm glad I wrote CA.
Right. Jill is asking, do you get referrals?
Yeah, I do. Lots of referrals. And again, I think it has a lot to do with the confidence that I kind of fake during an appointment of like, I am here to completely take over this pain in the neck of a situation for you in your life. Nobody likes to have to get dressed. Nobody likes putting on clothes that don't fit them. I said, let me just take all that away from you. So I think
do you ask for the referral? Do you ask for the referral?
A lot of guys will actually say, I have a ton of people I want to turn, you on to. I want them to come in here and be able to have this too. I sometimes will ask for referrals. I've actually now been trying to focus on recruiting. So I'm actually spending my minute, if I have with them, to ask them for something. I'm actually saying, I'm looking to really grow my business, and keep in the back of your mind if you come across anybody who you think would love to do what I do.
Yay.
I know.
We need lots of
I feel like I can't do both.
Okay, so Jill Berry is asking, do you have a lot of out-of-town clients that come in, and how do you follow up with them?
Yes. So I always make sure, just because I have the studio area here, I have a lot of people that are from out of town staying at like the hotel next to here. And so they'll want to come in and check it out, but then they'll say that, well, I'm from out of town. And I'm like, that's great. I said, I have clients, all over the country that I work with. I just need to capture your measurements. And a lot of those guys are happy to just take 10 minutes and let me put them in the system and take their measurements, and they might not order anything. And then I'll follow up with them. So it's just texting and emailing and, sending them a style board, and that kind of stuff is how I try to get some out of town people to bite.
So do you have clients out of town that you have not measured in person, that you've just done?
I have, I don't know if I do. I would be very comfortable doing that if I had the opportunity.
Okay.
And is our virtual assistant about to launch? Or not the virtual assistant, the app, virtual measuring app?
I'm sure hoping so. They keep saying it's on the way. That will be a game changer.
Yeah.
I use virtual closet all the time. Style boards, Sally, good idea. Okay. So those are the questions, unless I missed something. If I missed one of y'all, please speak up.
Yeah, again, for whether you're new in the business or not, there is something that guys appreciate tremendously. Not only do they want clothes that fit and look great on them, but somebody who can deal with that for them. And if you can let them know that you can actually provide that service to them, I think you're going to get a client for life. Like, that is just as important as the fit.
It's being confident and telling them what you're going to do for them. 100%.
And practice that confidence, even if you don't feel like you have it on something. Just do it. Just try it. And I had a friend years ago, he would laugh if I was saying this right now, that like a little bit is like also like stop talking, like say what you need to say and then stop. And that really helps exude confidence, that you don't keep on like droning on about it and repeating yourself. And you just are strong and confident. And I'm here to completely take over, you know, your wardrobe and making sure you look great all the time.
Cameron, this is Cindy George. And I remember asking on a base camp call about that fit application. And I mentioned that I had told a couple guys about it that were out of town, and they actually downloaded the link from their app store and used it. And it does come into your green room. So it is set up. And I asked why they haven't launched it yet. And the answer was they want to focus on virtual assistant and get that down first. But I guiltily maybe have used it, and used it on a guy that you know, I couldn't measure, and his shirt fit perfectly. So I kind of limit myself, but if it's between a sale and not a sale, I will offer that to them for an out-of-town client, even though I don't know if I'm supposed to.
Yeah, and I don't have that. I think some people are able to download it and some aren't. I'm not quite sure what's going on with it. I've heard that.
I
did download it.
You can use
but
it.
I didn't have anything downloaded. I just, you can go to the Apple store and get it. And because we got that link during Summit, and well, it's just in the Apple store, and it came into my green room, and I hadn't done anything other than try to use it. I told him to take a screenshot of his actual measurements, and that's how I ordered the shirt. But then later I saw it listed in my green room. So I didn't do anything special. I just kind of better to ask forgiveness kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I don't have an answer for that. Not that that was a question, but I'm not sure what
the answer is. A client can go get the app themselves, and they can put it on their phone and they can do it.
So we're just not officially announcing it.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. And I asked Joe if that was okay. And I remember he just said, yeah, and let me know how it goes. But I think it's not widely promoted. But since we're talking about it in this group, I think if it's to, you know, the last resort, you know, maybe. Yeah, I probably shouldn't.
Cindy, I was on that call with you as well, and yeah, he said that the training is actually in the green room. So if you want to use it, you can use it.
I did the training. Yes.
Yeah, they just
right. Oh, wow.
They wanted to prioritize the virtual assistant because they've spent a lot of money on it, and they didn't want people to get derailed. So if you need it, it's there for you to teach yourself until they're ready to, you know, roll it out to everybody, I guess, is the way I understood it from Joe, like what you're saying.
They're probably being sensitive on the stylist bandwidth to be able to learn something new. And so they want us to all learn the virtual assistant and be pros at that. And then they'll then have us focus on learning a whole new tool of the measuring.
Right. It's a more money generating tool, the virtual assistant right now. Yeah. That's the way I understood it, Libby.
And Heather, I missed your question for Libby. Do you wait for their full order to arrive before having them come pick it up from you at the showroom, or do you get it to them as soon as possible?
I usually do like to, if it's a big order and they're suiting in there, I do like to do that, but I'll ask them, you know, do you want me to give you a call when like maybe your shirts come in first and try that on? I leave that up to them. Most guys say, just wait until everything, unless they're anxious and they want to try it. But also managing all of them and sending out an email or a text and ask, hey, like your shirt's here, but your suit's not here. And sometimes it's just administratively difficult to break it out into multiple fit appointments.
Libby, do you do any appointments outside of the studio anymore?
I am happy to do that. I'm meeting a client this afternoon at his house, but most of my guys do have no interest in me coming to the home office anymore.
And so how do you get them to come in? What is your verbiage that you use for them to come in instead of coming to the home or the office?
Most of them know that I have this location now. And if they don't, I just say, hey, I've got a showroom location. I have tons of things that I could show you that you can touch and feel in person, you know, with suiting and shirts and polos and a ton of stuff. And then I also tell them that if they want to come in after work, they could have a drink on the bar too. And they're like, oh, okay. So they find that appealing to come in and be able to see everything.
So for those in the rest of the country that don't have a studio like you or New York,
Right.
your presentation is the same when you go to somebody's home or office?
Yep. I pack up the majority of the stuff. And then I pull like what I prepped for them, and I only show them what I prepped for them when I'm at the home or office. But then I have my backup in case, you know, they like the sport coat, but they don't like the trouser color. I can then go and pull out like my, you know, suiting binder and pull out a different color for them.
And do you bring those boards? Like a board? Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Libby, a lot of us envision having a showroom someday. What are your hours at the showroom? How many days are you open?
So that's a good question. So on my door here, it says that I'm open from Tuesday through Saturday, 12 to 6. I will be, and then Sunday and Monday are appointment only. I was lucky yesterday that I didn't get called in, you know, and have to set a Sunday appointment. I'll be here for this call, and then I have an appointment that I'm going to have here. So I am with an appointment on Monday. And then during the week, those 12 to 6, a lot of times a client wants to, you know, come in at like 9 or 10 before he's getting his day going. So I'll come in and see him then. But often on like Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, I will get stuck here. Like I had a new client, they were here. There was a big kind of, pep rally for the Ohio State game the next day. So like the local radio stations here, and they have a huge stage and the DJs and music. And we have a DORA law here, which is like open container. So you can walk all over this area with alcohol from like one restaurant to another to a store. So it attracts a ton of people. And it was probably 7:30, and I was wrapping up. I had a client who wanted to meet at 6. So I was wrapping up his appointment, and a family came in, and, you know, the wife really wanted to get her husband a suit. He's super busy. He's a oncology surgeon and never has time. I'm like, come on in, and turned on the Boston Red Sox were playing, and everyone's having drinks. And I was here till like 9:30, and that happens, you know. There was a couple nights last week that I was here till 10:30 trying to wrap up orders and stuff. I'm afraid to wait until the next day. So it can go late here. My hours are probably better here, like dinner time. Honestly, I should probably literally change my hours.
She works a lot.
Not if it's working.
It is. I have a hard time, you know, saying no. So
Yeah. Do you get overwhelmed sometime being the only one there?
Mm-hmm.
What happens if 2, 3, 4 people walk in at once?
Thank God I have a bar, and I'm like, grab a drink, sit down, fight over the remote, whatever you guys want to watch on TV. And I just try to make it fun, you know, and they see that I'm really busy. And I think that is a draw to some, especially like a new client who's like, wow, like she's got a lineup here. So I'm going to wait for this. I kind of just try to take that energy and make it sound great. And I'll ask them like, hey, what are you looking for? And I need a suit. And so I'll kind of give them then maybe, you know, my suiting binder, and I'm like, take a peek at this, you know, enjoy your drink, and I'll get with you in just a second. And I just start working it.
That's fabulous.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anyone else have questions for Miss Libby or anyone else? Got my dogs fighting right next to me. Libby's got one of those too.
I have 4 at home, so there's always.
Yes.
That's why I come to the showroom, because it's quiet here.
Well, and you bring your baby there.
I do. A lot of times I have one here with me.
So sweet.
I have a comment. I say thanks for having the guts to open up a showroom on your own. I think it's absolutely fabulous.
Thank you. You know, it was something that I saw within my business of like, gosh darn it, like, I know that I could really show corporate, like this could work for an individual stylist if they want to do this in the right way. And have I made a ton of mistakes here? Yes. Would I change some things? For sure. But most of it is I'm so grateful that I took that risk and I went for it and I did it.
Well, and I know that both Dave and Roger Lee are monitoring you and your success very closely and asking a lot of questions, you know, in terms of how this looks. So who knows?
I just saw
Yay, Libby, celebrating you.
Thank you. Thank you. I saw a question about social media. Yes, social media is a game changer, especially having, I don't know, I shouldn't say especially. I know that having a space like this here, and then doing social media and kind of promoting kind of like the fun in here and the energy in here. And, you know, the guys love shopping. And so I get like my social media girl will take great videos or pictures and just makes it very like, you got to come in and check this place out. Like it's so much fun. I try not to be very serious on my social media.
Okay, we are over our time, but I know everyone was so anxious to hear from you, Miss Libby. Those are outstanding numbers, and you took a huge risk. And
I did.
Everyone tried to talk you out of it.
I know. Thank God it worked.
We appreciate that you didn't listen to us.
You're very welcome.
You're awesome, and we appreciate you sharing with us this morning. And I thank all of you for jumping on.
Yeah, and anybody can email me or text me if questions about my social media. I saw somebody else asking about how did I find my social media person. So,
all right. Well, thank you, everyone. Y'all have a great week, and we will see you. I think Lori and I are going to try and be live from the studio next Monday, and we're going to go through some of that outerwear. I will say that light blue puffer jacket is in the window at the studio, and it looks amazing. So we'll be excited to go through some of that.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thank you, Libby. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Bye.
Bye.